Alright, so finding the slope using a formula. We already went over how to find the slope of a line when it's drawn. Right now we're going to find the slope of a line if it's not necessarily drawn, or maybe there's larger numbers, okay, or it's a real life contact situation. So slope represents the vertical change over the horizontal change in a line. You always read the line from left to right. So we have the slope right here of this red line. We know that the vertical change is positive 2. The horizontal change is positive 4. We learned yesterday that that means the slope is 2/4, and we reduce it to 1/2. So the slope of this line is 1/2. Well, there's a mathematical way to do this. Okay? We can take those coordinate points of -2, 2, and 2, 4, and we can use the slope formula. The slope formula reads as m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And we're going to need to know this formula. The 2's and 1's in this formula are not really there for calculation. They're subscript. They're written there for notation purposes, and you'll see what I mean by that in a second. So we're going to take a look at -2, 2, and 2, 4. Okay? And let's extend our page. Okay. So we have the coordinate points of -2, 2, and 2, 4. Just to recap, our slope formula was m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We're going to talk about where that formula comes from too. But first we need to kind of label something. You have to figure out what the y sub 2, y sub 1, and x sub 2 and x sub 1 are. We're going to look at our first coordinate, -2, 2. The first letter in a coordinate is
X.
x. Good. So -2 is going to be our x sub 1 because it's always x comma y in a coordinate, and it's our first x. That means the 2 is going to be y sub 1 because it's the first coordinate and it's the first y. We move over to 2, 4. This is x sub 2 because it's the second x and x sub 2 in coordinate, and this is y sub 2. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
All right, so let's watch this. I'm going to write the slope formula. M equals. Now it's y sub 2 minus y sub 1. Remember, slope formula, we said it's the change in, it's the vertical change in the numerator, right? Okay, well the vertical change is talking about the 2 y coordinates, namely this and this. So how does 2 and 4 change? So we're going to take y sub 2, which is right here, 4, and write it there. Now the formula says to subtract. So minus, and then we're going to look at the 2 right here, y sub 1, and write 2. So we're writing 4 minus 2 in the numerator. In the denominator, we have x sub 2 next. X sub 2 is 2. So I write that down. Now in the formula, it says to subtract. So we're going to subtract. And then it says x sub 1. Well, x sub 1 is -2. So I'm going to write -2. Remember, we should write parentheses around it. So in my numerator, I have 4 minus 2, which is, and then the denominator, I have 2 minus -2. Or minus and negative is really plus and positive. This really becomes 2 plus 2, right? And that becomes 4. And 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. Hey, what did we say that line's slope was